Hello everyone out there in YouTube land, and welcome back to my channel. And I know that there's kind of like a sunlight thing going on here. I don't know where it's coming from. It's coming through my window and I can't do anything about that, so please ignore the sun glare. Okay, so today I have a special video to share with you. It's one that I would have never thought of to do because I just take for granted that everybody, you know, knows how to trim their candles and wick dip their candles and do candle care and all that kind of good stuff. But one of my subscribers, Daniel from Alabama, hello Daniel, he gave me this great suggestion. So to do a video about how to trim your candle wicks and candle care. So he writes, he was saying, you should do a video on how to trim wicks on candles. I have no idea. I have no idea how to do that, and I'm sure there are others out here in YouTube land who are in the same boat. Okay, so I'll get on the boat with you, and I will share some candle tips. Now, let me preface this by saying that I do not consider myself a candle expert by any means. There are probably people, I know there are people out there with much more expert knowledge than I. So I'm just going to share what I do, how I take care of my candles, because we all love our candles, but in order to love your candles, you have to care for your candles. And I'll talk about why that's important, and I have some experience with that. Okay, so let's use this as an example. So we have here our lovely 3-wick candle from Bath & Body Works. And also, let me take a large jar here. We have a large jar from Yankee Candle. We're going to talk about different sizes of candles and all kinds of good stuff like that. Let me reach for a mason jar there. Okay, so the first thing is why you should trim your candle wicks. Oh, the tools of the trade here. This is a candle wick trimmer. This you can pick up at any Yankee Candle. It's about 10 bucks. I'm sure you can get one cheaper online, but this is just the one that I use. So this is a candle wick trimmer. And then this, which I ordered online from Amazon, this is from the company The Wick Man. This is a wick dipper. And this is how I extinguish my candles. That's a tip, by the way, that I picked up from the Bad Enabler. I only recently started to do wick dipping. Okay, so why should you trim your candle wicks? Because as the candle is burning, the wick is going to get longer and longer, and the flame is going to shoot sky high. And when you have a sky high flame, you are going to get soot. Not only will you get soot on the inside of your candle, but you will get soot on the walls in your apartment or your house, and that is gross. Take it from me, because I was not paying attention to my candles with enough care, and I ended up with black soot on my walls, and I had to stand on a ladder and clean all the walls in my apartment with a sponge and soapy water. And believe me, you do not want to do that. It is not fun. So what happens to a candle if you don't trim the wicks and you don't pay attention to it? Well, this is a candle that I had been trimming until the end, and then when it got towards the bottom, I didn't pay attention to it, and this is what happens. This will also happen with Yankee candles if you don't extinguish them with like a 1/4 of the inch of wax or something left. If you just let the candle extinguish itself, which some of us tend to do, and you leave it alone, you don't pay attention to it, you're gonna get soot most likely, and that's a bad thing. You do not want this on your walls. Okay, so when to start trimming, when to trim, and when not to trim. When I first get a candle, if the candle looks like this, the wicks are pretty average size, I would not trim the candle when you first buy it. That's just me. I don't trim my candles when I first buy them. I also don't trim Yankee Candle wicks when I first get them. I know some people do. I don't find the necessity to do that unless they're super long. Like the candle that I just showed you that has normal wicks. Now, supposing you get a candle like I just bought the other day from Walmart, which has gigunda wicks like this. These are abnormally long wicks. In this case, I would trim those wicks. Okay, so again, regular sized wicks, ginormous wicks. So that'll be a good one to practice on, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, now with, this is not Yankee Candle, but this is Goose Creek. This is a 2-wick. See, the candle wicks are average size. I don't feel the need to trim them at that point. Now, as you go on through your candle life, your wick is going to get longer. So every time you extinguish your candle, right, and the wax cools and you're ready to light it up again, right, you've extinguished your candle, it's cooled. Even if the wicks are little like this, I prefer to trim them to avoid getting soot. I know some people feel that unless the flame is really high, they're not getting enough burn out of their candle. I don't think that that's true. What happens if you trim your wick too short? Well, the candle won't light. But there are ways to fix that. So let me start with, I'm going all over the place here. Here's your wick trimmer, okay? I've been burning this candle. I just want to give it a little trim. So what I'm gonna go in there and trim it just a little. Cut maybe half what's there until you have that. So I've just cut a teensy bit off the top. Don't cut it super short. Don't leave it super long. If you are not sure if you've cut enough, what I would say is light the candle. If the flame is still high, too high for your taste, blow it out, trim it again. It's better to err on the side of caution than trim the wick too short and then you have to do what I do, which you shouldn't do. And I need a prop for that. 1 second. Okay, so in the case of trimming a candle too short, what I've done, and I did it with this candle, I previously had trimmed it way too short and it wasn't lighting. So what I do is I take my lighter here, okay, and then I would light the wick. Well, I would try to light it and I would keep lighting it until the wax starts to drip. See, like that, until you can get a hold of the wick and get it to light. Hold the lighter there, keep burning the wax near the wick until more of the wick reveals itself, and then light it. So that's how you handle a wick that's too short. At least that's what I would recommend. That's the only way I know how to fix it. I'm sure there are other better ways, but that's just the way I found. So yes, trim your wicks every time you have burned the candle, you've put it out and you're ready to relight it again the next day. Trim your wick. Here's an example. This is a Yankee Candle, a Bath and Body Works candle in, what the hell scent is this? Big Island Bamboo. Okay, so that wick is too long. You see the giant mushroom top at the top? That is the wick that has already been burned and is now curling over and forming a mushroom. You want to get rid of that. So not only does trimming your wick prevent your flames from going sky high and prevent your getting soot on the inside of your candle and soot on your walls, but also cosmetically, if you take that extra wick out, it prevents it from falling in the wax and you get what I call candle duties, where the little pieces will fall into the wax like it has there, like that, and you'll get a candle duty. So it's just better all around for your candle and for your home if you trim your wick. So I'm gonna go in. You definitely want to cut the mushroom part off and use your judgment. Don't cut it to the point where the wick is even with the wax, where there's nothing sticking up. You just want to use your best judgment. Go in just like a scissor, and trim your wick like that. And I've left about that much there. And you can see this is the part that I've trimmed off. So I've taken off this much. Normally, like I said, you might, if you're consistently trimming, you won't have to chop off a big candle duty like that, but you want to get rid of that mushroom part and that used up wick. Okay, so that's that. Now, wick dipping. Oh, before I get to wick dipping, let me show you this candle. So this is cinnamon apple cider from 719 Walnut Avenue, which is the Walmart brand, and it has these super enormous wicks. Now if I were to light this as is, let's see what'll happen. Let's test this out, shall we? I would, under normal circumstances, trim this before I light it, because even though the wick will burn down on its own, the flame will be really high and it'll curl over. Let me just show you. Let's hope that this example works out properly. All right, so here we have our candle with our sky-high wicks, and I'm just going to light this. My lighter's not working. Seriously? Why me? Okay, so because I am the scent maven and just, you know, bloopers and other problems follow me, my lighter was out of fluid at that exact moment. So I'm gonna try with this lighter, which I wouldn't normally use, which is like a butane lighter, and I'm gonna set my fingers on fire. Okay, so now I've lit the candle, and you can see the wicks are trimming themselves kind of, but see how it's curling over right on this side. See how it's curling? You don't want that to happen. You don't want it to be curling and doing things like that. See how they're curling over? Okay, I would, you know, avoid that. That's just me. All right, so that's, now the flames are pretty normal. They're pretty puny because this is a Walmart candle, but I would say if this had been a Bath and Body Works candle, the flames would be really high right now. And for that reason, that's why I would trim. Okay, so now after that's been burning for a while, I'll show you how to use your wick dipper. But while I'm waiting for a candle to cool out, I should probably light another one. Hold on a second. Okay, while I'm waiting for a candle to cool out and I'm waiting to demonstrate how to use your trusty wick dipper. Now, why do you use a wick dipper? Because, first of all, blowing out your candle creates a lot of smoke. A lot of people don't like the smell of a blown out candle. It smells like if you blow out a lit match, that kind of sulfury smell. I really don't like that. This is a much cleaner, easier way of extinguishing your candles. Some people have asked me in my videos, why can't you just snuff out the candle by putting the cover on it? You could. I've never done that. I've heard from people who work in Bath and Body Works and other candle people that traps the soot smell into the candle. So I wouldn't recommend it. A wick dipper is just an easier, better way. It has virtually no smoke or soot or anything, and you don't have to worry about that getting trapped in your candle. And I just don't like the idea of covering up putting out a candle that way. Something about that just seems weird or dangerous to me. I don't know. So anyway, what other things can you do to care for your candles properly? Now, first of all, I would not recommend putting your candle, your hot lit candle, your hot lit candle onto a surface. Because candles, depending on what kind of candle it is, it can burn very hot, and you don't want to damage your furniture, or if you don't want to put it on top of like a vinyl tablecloth like I have on my kitchen table. So what do we do to prevent that? Well, there are several vessels that you can put your candle in. I'm going to just show you a couple of them. Any of these are fine. You can use a candle plate. Okay, basically anything that prevents the candle from touching a surface directly. So there are candle plates, there are candle sleeves, and you'll see that the candle sleeves have these little raised points that prevent it from touching the candle, the surface that it's on. Candle sleeves. There are candle pedestals, which I like because then it's really raised up off the surface. Whereas this, even though it's off the surface, and this is made for candles, this is Bath and Body Works, obviously, so it's off the table. I prefer something that keeps it even further off the table. I like pedestals where the candle is really raised up and it's definitely not touching your surface. I tend to use those most of all. This also, I got this from Yankee Candle. It's very rustic for the winter. This will keep your candle, see, the little prongs keep your candle from touching the surface. So anything that's going to keep your candle off the surface is good. There are other size heights of pedestals. Now, as far as soot goes, what I found and what I've read online is that the best way to prevent soot, other than trimming and using your wick dipper and keeping your home ventilated, is to keeping your home ventilated. Keeping your candle in the center of the room. Don't keep it near a wall or in a corner, because that's where the soot tends to go. That's where I had gotten the most soot. So I try to keep it on the coffee table, in the center of the coffee table, in the room, in the center of the kitchen table. I don't like to keep it near the corners of any walls. And also with pedestals, I tend to like, this is just personal preference, you can use whatever you like. I tend to prefer this size pedestal as opposed to this one that's not going to hold the candle as securely, and it's a little bit taller. It's nice, I use it, but if you ask me what I prefer the shorter pedestals. Now, I have a pedestal that I hardly ever use, which is even taller than that, and it's this one that I picked up in Marshall's that you could bludgeon somebody with this. Okay, I got this for Valentine's Day. It'll probably look better with a red candle on it. Let's try that. So as you can see, there are I always call this, I call it my Olympic torch. There are various sizes and heights of pedestals with various security levels, whether it's completely enclosed or freestanding like that. There are candle baskets. There's a multitude of ways to keep your candle from damaging a surface in your home. The next thing that I would recommend is that you keep a window open in the room where you have the candle. Now, I'm not saying that you should do that on a really windy day, because that would not be smart. But even if it's like it is out now in New York, it's about 90 something degrees. It's, you know, there's a breeze, but it's not windy. But still, you want to prevent the candle flames from going all over the place and flickering like crazy. Or even if you have it in a room, like I have in my living room, and it's on the coffee table, and I have the air conditioner going, you don't want it to fan the flames all crazy. So what I would suggest in that case, like I said, keep in mind your ventilation, but also protect your flames from dancing all over. How do you do that? With a hurricane. A hurricane is great for that. This is my favorite hurricane. I would use this. This offers the most protection from a breeze because it's completely enclosed all the way up to the top. So if you put a candle inside like this, or even your Yankee Candle, it's going to be well protected from any kind of breeze. The wind would have to go up here. So if you're worried but you want to keep your candle on and you think there might be more than a regular breeze outside, I recommend this style of hurricane. Also, you can use this kind of hurricane, which is a little bit shorter but still fully enclosed. okay? I would not use my basket holder because this is not going to prevent wind from making your candles dance around. I would not recommend this if it's particularly breezy. If you're just wanting to keep it, if it's just like a breeze every now and then or whatever, this is shorter and it's more open at the top. So just keep that in mind. The stronger the wind outside, the more you're concerned about your flames dancing, the taller and more enclosed your hurricane should be. And then we have your luminaries. Luminaries are for decorative purposes. They help your candle burn. They keep the heat where it's supposed to go, and they're just pretty. A luminary really doesn't protect your candle from drafts. They're more ornamental, and also being that it has a pedestal, it protects the surface of whatever it's sitting on. The next thing that we should talk about with candle care are something that I've misplaced. Oh, your, what do they call these? Illumilids. An Illumilid. When should you use an Illumilid? Well, there are a lot of schools of thought on this. And if you use your Illumilid, it's going to get full of soot, so you'll have to clean it. So Illumilids are great for Yankee candles. If you have a Yankee candle and you're worried about it tunneling, you don't have enough time to babysit the candle. Wow, that looks really bright for some reason. It's like, oh. Put your Illumilid on there, helps the candle burn better, helps it pool out faster, all that good stuff. I would not recommend putting an Illumilid on any other type of candle that is not a Yankee candle, because these are not made for other candles, though they do fit them. You never know how the candle is going to behave. Here I have a 2-wick Goose Creek candle. I burned one that was pumpkin caramel latte last year. I put this on a Goose Creek candle. The candle got so boiling hot that after I had blown it out, because I wasn't doing my wick dipping back then, and I tried to pick up the candle, I picked it up from here or whatever, I noticed that the glass had cracked. You know, luckily, thank God, nothing caught fire or anything, but it all cracked. And then after the candle was completely cool and I tried to put the lid back on, it cracked even more. So for that reason, for that bad experience, I would advise against putting your Illumilid on a Goose Creek candle or a Village candle for that matter. There are people that might have had good experiences. I don't think I've ever put an Illumilid on a Village candle. I believe those have 2 wicks as well. Maybe it's something about the 2 wicks that makes the candle particularly hot. But err on the side of caution when it comes to candles, because it is a flame and you don't want to set your house on fire. Okay, so wick dipping. I'm going to show you how to extinguish your candle, even though mine has not completely pooled out. If you don't leave your candle pool out completely, it's going to tunnel. I don't know if I need to explain to you guys what that is. I think everybody who's watching a candle care video should know that if your candle, if the wax is not melted all the way around into a pool, don't blow it out, because the next time you light it and every time after that, you will get, your candle will tunnel. There'll be unburned wax around the corners continuously down, down, down. And then what happens is when you try to light your candle, the wax that has collected, the unburned wax on the side, will prevent the candle from igniting. And if it does ignite, it'll kind of like warm the wax and it'll put itself out and it'll just be a mess. And you don't want to do that. If you do get tunneling, use the tin foil trick. Take a piece of tin foil, wrap it around the candle, and it should fix the problem. All right, so now on to wick dipping. Okay, so this candle has not completely pulled out, as you can see. I just lit it, so obviously, but it's pulling out pretty fast. So far I don't smell anything, but I'm just going to extinguish this with the wick dipper just to show you, for demonstration purposes, how to use your wick dipper. And as you can see, it's this little curly pointed thing. Now, I'm going to see if I can do this while filming at the same time, because I don't normally do that. Okay, so what you do is you take your wick, and you push it into the wax. And then you pull it back up so that it's standing straight for next time you light your candle. Take your wick, push it over, and stick it back up. Same thing here. Take the wick, push it over, make sure it's sticking back up. And there you go. You've extinguished your candle with virtually no smoke at all and no sulfury smell. Okay guys, so that's going to conclude this video on candle care. I hope it was helpful to you guys out there in YouTube land. If you have some candle tips, you know, feel free to comment down below. Again, thank you to Daniel from Alabama for requesting this video. It was a really good idea. I hope this was able to help you in some way. And thank you guys for watching. Remember to comment, rate, subscribe, and until next time, goodbye everyone out there in YouTube land.